What would you do if your family, living in your home, treated you not as the owner, but as their personal servant? In today's story, a young woman's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. My father passed away last year from cancer, and in his will, he left me 90% of his estate. This included his family home, a place that had been in his father's family for over 100 years. It was a beautiful, historic house right in the heart of London, worth about £2.5 million. My older brother, Mark, who is 34, didn't really have a relationship with my dad, but Dad still left him £10,000. My mother also received 10k, and while she was clearly furious at the reading of the will, the money kept her from making a legal fuss. For the first year, my mother and I lived together okay. She continued acting as if the house was hers, just like before my dad passed, and honestly, I didn't mind that at first. But everything changed in May, when my brother Mark and his 30-year-old girlfriend, Sophie, moved in. They didn't even ask for permission. They just showed up with their things. From day one, they were messy, entitled, and unbelievably rude. They paid for nothing and wouldn't so much as wash a single dish. By July, I'd had enough. I told them plainly that I wanted them out by September. But in August, they made a surprise announcement. Sophie was pregnant. After sharing the news, she looked right at me with a smug grin and said, "Guess we won't be moving out now." This revealed their greatest fatal flaw, a profound sense of entitlement. They genuinely believed that my kindness was weakness and that my property was their right, a miscalculation that would ultimately cost them everything. When I insisted they still had to leave, my brother and my own mother just laughed in my face. The months that followed were absolute hell. Their behavior got even worse, and my mother enabled every bit of it. She started demanding that I treat my sister-in-law like a delicate princess simply because she was pregnant. The entitlement was staggering. One morning, I was forced to get up before dawn and wait outside a McDonald's until it opened, just to get Sophie a McMuffin she was craving. Her pregnancy became an excuse for everything, especially her insatiable appetite for things that weren't hers. She ate everything she saw. For my 19th birthday, my friend baked me 6 beautiful cupcakes. I didn't get to try a single one. Sophie ate all of them. I couldn't even make my own lunch for work the night before, because I knew that by morning, it would be gone. I'd go to the fridge, find the empty container, and see Sophie standing there with that same smug look on her face, rubbing her belly. She'd just laugh and say, "I couldn't help myself. Blame the baby." It was infuriating. I tried putting a mini fridge in my room, but my mom would just use her spare key to let Sophie in to raid it anyway. And as one commenter, who was 8 months pregnant herself, later pointed out, being pregnant does not give you an excuse to steal food or act like an asshole. It is 100% understandable you wouldn't want to live with someone so disrespectful and rude. The breaking point came about a week ago. I was running late for my classes at college, so I didn't have time to eat breakfast or pack a lunch. I had to go straight to my job afterward, so for the entire day, all I had to eat was a single bar of chocolate. By the time I got home that evening, I was starving. I made myself a proper dinner, and while I let it cool down for a few minutes, I ran to the bathroom. I couldn't have been gone for more than 10 minutes. When I came back to the kitchen, I found Sophie at the table. 70% of my dinner was gone. Something inside me just snapped. I completely lost my composure. I started screaming. Of course, Sophie immediately burst into tears, which brought my mom and Mark running. They started screaming right back at me, yelling at me for making the poor, pregnant girl cry. They made excuses, saying she couldn't help it because of the baby, and that it was my own fault for leaving food out where she could see it. That was it. I was done. I looked at all 3 of them and told them, "Get out." Just like before, they mocked me, but this time was different. This was the breaking point. The moment a year of being a doormat ended, and the quiet victim decided to become the architect of her own peace, no matter the cost. Back in October, my uncle, my dad's brother, had offered me a life-changing amount of money for the house. I'd refused at the time, but I still had his number. A few days after the fight, with tears streaming down my face, I called him. I explained the whole situation, how they were treating me in my own home. He listened patiently, and then he said his offer still stood. He would buy the house, but he made one thing clear: he would immediately move to evict my mom, my brother, and his girlfriend. I knew that selling to my uncle meant I would lose out on about 100,000 pounds compared to the market value, but he had always been good to me. It was one of those situations where I knew I'd sleep better at night knowing the home was staying with someone in my dad's family. I accepted his offer. As you can imagine, they didn't take the news well. The fallout was immediate and vicious. I've had to go stay with a friend to escape the constant harassment. My phone is blowing up with angry texts, and they are tagging me in post after post on social media, telling everyone how I'm making my sick mother and my pregnant sister-in-law homeless. For a moment, with all the hate I was getting, I started to think maybe I was the bad person, but as one person online wisely said, they didn't treat you like family, so why should you treat them that way? Your uncle is the one evicting them, not you. They were right. I'm now planning to meet with a lawyer to make sure everything is handled correctly. Ultimately, this story teaches a powerful lesson: your own peace is worth fighting for, and the word family should never be used as a license for cruelty and disrespect. Have you ever had to make a drastic decision to protect your own well-being from toxic family members? Share your story in the comments below.